Hi everybody, it's Andy Mack again. Just been a little while, so I thought I'd have a quick paint and chat, I suppose. It's not really chat, paint and tell. Just continuing on slowly with my Mulberries. I've been doing my Monmouth Rebels and doing some conversions for my Mulberry from Dixon's, which I'm pleased with so far. Haven't painted them yet, but I'll show them in a moment. But I just sort of changed they were tricorns, and I just sort of, at the moment, I've just filed off the tricorn and to await either milliput or green stuff conversions for floppy hats. So I'll show you that now. So these are the ones which were Mulberry. I don't know if you can see how well you can see that, but I filed down a lot of the hats. You can see the tricorn shapes, and I'll be painting them up, and I've got also some of the old minifigs peasants, you know. So I'm not doing that many with scythes and things for Monmouth's army, but I'm doing some. So, and the reason being, I want to use them for other theatres, and I think if I have too many scythemen, it might look a bit silly. And also you've got to bear in mind the scale, so one person equals a certain amount. So these are all going to be my Monmouth Rebels. Some of them are quite improvised weapons and stuff, but some of them are English Civil War, and some of them are various late 17th century ones. So but yeah, these are all going to be the Monmouth Rebels. What else? Yeah, so I'm still very much plugging on with my James II armies as well, and as you may know, I'm also doing the Scottish revolt of Argyle. So, but it's a little bit slow progress. Lots of thoughts and, you know, planning sort of thing, but not actually a lot of painting. I'm going to be scratch building model for the various towns and things. So there'll be some Scottish towns and villages type thing, and then also West Country towns and villages. So it'll be modular, you know. Hopefully the buildings will do that, a foam core, and they'll serve fairly well both theatres. There are just some distinct architectural styles, but there are also some common architectural styles that will be okay for north of the border and here in the West Country, so or in the West Country. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'm also going to be doing a 6mm coup thing for Modern Wars, but just looking at different world sets for them. I've nearly painted up the armies for that, so as you can imagine, it's quite easy to paint. But I've just got to do a few more the buildings. I've got most of the buildings I need, but a few more. And I've got to scratch build a football stadium or something like that. Sounds very impressive, but it won't be. It will be very representative, but it'll be convincing enough at 6mm. I'm using Heroic and Ross for those, so it might be an issue with the scale being a bit small for YouTube focus. Yeah, it's a interesting world we have at the moment. I remember in the early 90s, I lived for a summer in Berlin. A friend of mine from an East German friend of mine, actually, she lived in Berlin, and I went and for a little bit went over there, and I remember marvelling at the wall, the Berlin Wall, and thinking to myself, crikey, how is it that people who are now quite happily united, going about their business, were living such contrasting lives, separated by this wall? I just found it quite bizarre. But mind you, I did grow up in the Cold War. You know, I'm born in 1970, so. But I do remember just thinking to myself, well, we've got, you know, quite a hope-filled era. But I also thought how crazy it was, and of course, little did I know then that probably may well have been the pinnacle of the hope-filled era. And even though it had just begun, you know, just the wall had come down and people were getting on with fairly normal lives, and there was a great deal of hope, and they put the photographs up at one day, actually, I took over there, but all very old-fashioned photos, so they probably wouldn't make much very good viewing. A lot of them I can't find, actually. I think I must have put them in an album, and I've only got the ones that didn't make the album, so I could find. I don't know where the album is, but yeah, no, it's an interesting world. So I'm sure it'll play itself out, but hopefully without too much you know, war and bloodshed continuing. But we'll see. But yeah, but I've been watching lots of the videos. I've also been watching some of the politics with there's two politicians over here which are have a great show. I can't remember what the show's called, actually, but it's Alistair Cameron, and who was one of Tony Blair's advisors, and Rory, what's his name? Rory Stewart, Rory Stewart, who's more conservative. I mean, both of them have a number of shared views, but it's, you know, they have a take on the world, and obviously at the moment it's the circumstances of the world with you know, the new administration in America. Rory Stewart, that's him, and Alistair Campbell, and I've been absolutely mesmerised by that. It's really you know, political and debate, and I think at its best, a really good overview of all the dynamics of the various changes that's happening, and sensible discussion as well, without but I've really enjoyed it. So that's taken a bit of my YouTube time viewing. This time of year, I spend a lot of time in my garden and getting ready for the garden, because I amongst other things, I do grow tropical plants, which, as you can imagine, in the winter I have to protect, and I shall just show you here. Bear with me one moment. Hopefully you might be able to switch it so you can see. So there's some of them here that just still in. These ones are bananas, and they, not just bananas, but the ones all down there as well, but they can't go out yet because of the frosts. But it does mean I've got quite a lot of plants which are all, which all need frost. In our climate, we have frosts, although it's getting warm quite rapidly in the daytimes. Night times you still can have near frost or frost, so it's always a bit of a dilemma when to put plants out and when not to. And at the moment, certainly those ones are tender, so they can't go out, but I've still got quite a few others that are semi-hardy and that kind of thing, and you still got to be a little bit careful. So but it's an exciting time, but busy time as well, with lots of seeds and things being planted. So but I always enjoy it, and seeing all the flowers coming out. It brings a lot of pleasure, having got through the winter, the gloomy winter, which I think it was this year. We didn't have any much dramatic weather or anything, but I think we did actually have a couple of very windy periods, storms, you know. But other than that, we didn't have much snow or anything, but or particularly cold spells. But a lot of grey. So yeah, talking about the weather, that's what we all do over here. But yeah, so these are my, say, Monmouth Rebellion ones, which is inspired by the book by Steve Carter, The One King, and various spin-offs. I think there's another spin-off one as well from that. But yeah, it's all about the Monmouth Rebellion, which is 1685, and so I plan to do that, or I don't know whether I'll do it exactly. I think it would be more of a what-if kind of thing, perhaps. I'll run it like a bit of a solo campaign type thing, or something. Maybe a bit of a with random or some lots of random events and that kind of thing to change the dynamic. But we'll see. I'll quite thought of doing it, but I retire in August, so I'm hoping that with the more time that I'm hoping I'll get, I'll be able, my project should mature a bit more quickly, which will be good for YouTube as well, because also I can do more regular posts. I may cover some other areas that I interest. As I say, I do gardening. I don't know whether to diversify my channel or not, or just keep it with my painting soldiers and talking about war games and doing the odd battle report type of hobby. I still like my Napoleonics. That's something I'll sort out as well when I retire. Get that a bit more. I don't know whether to rebase it, because I've started rebasing a lot of, with these MDF bases. So I always used to do card, but you can get MDFs quite reasonably priced now, so I don't mind biting the bullet. And when card is actually quite expensive in itself, and so I think it's probably. And I don't like the thick bases that some people like, which is more about personal taste. But I know you can get them sort of 2mm, which is what I like. So I've been getting sort of very sort of thin bases. I've also bought recently the rule set Art de la Guerre, which I might paint some things up for, and some of my old friends do competitions for Art de la Guerre and the various war game show and things, so that's a temptation, because one of the things which I look forward to having once I retire is having more weekends. I work shifts at the moment, so what that means is I don't always have the benefit of doing anything like joining a club where you're going every Friday, Monday, or whatever, or having weekends off. So having those things when I retire, got to get there yet, but I am actually quite looking forward to considering whether I do or not is another thing, but it's having the option and being able to is a nice thought. So I can choose whether to go to war games clubs or whatever it might be more regularly. Because I tend at the moment, when I have a weekend off, is to rightly prioritise it with the family, which I know one of the war games clubs that I have been to in my recent history meet on a Sunday, and that's with on Ketteringham. He goes to that same club, and it's a great little club. Lovely, great people, and a little car journey for me, but not too bad. But that's, I say, on a Sunday. So, and I had to sort of scale it back, and then then kind of not go, because I just thought, well, it's time really that I want to spend with my family when I do have weekends off, which is about once a month, something like that. Once every, once every, well, probably once a month, something like that. I get a weekend off, which is not that many, 1 in 3, 1 in 4. It does sort of vary a bit, but so yeah, it's the time. And obviously the club that it is, we play some quite great games, but it did mean that one of the weekend days I would say we're not able to spend it with family, so I had to sort of curb that one back a bit. But every cloud is a silver lining. So once I've retired, it might be that I can do these things a bit more consistently. So I'm looking forward to that, or certainly having the freedom to choose whether to do it or not. Right, so I'm just putting a wash on my some of my mulberries. And don't know that. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Don't know if that came out at all really. So we're getting there. We're getting there with them. I've finished some of them, but I haven't based them up properly yet, and I'll do that when I start organising them all, their regiments. I will. It's all a bit chaotic at the moment, to be fair, but once all the regiments are done, I've got 3 or 4 of them all organised, and I need to do quite a few more, and I've still got Scots to do, or Scottish troops, and some of the Scottish rebels, and I'm quite certain I've actually misplaced a box of cavalry that I've painted for the period, and I don't know where they are, and all my commanders that I've painted. So I've looked quite a while now, so I do wonder if one of the family members has accidentally thought it's rubbish and just thrown it out. But that's a possibility. No one would ever admit to that, but because obviously I put them in shoe boxes and things like that, which when I'm painting them, and I put them on top of the cupboards in the kitchen, and it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that someone thinks, oh, a cardboard box, particularly if I left it on the side or something like that, when I've finished painting late at night, not properly put it away, and come down in the morning and, oh, what's this? Oh, rubbish, let's throw it out. Into the bin it goes. So yeah, so I've got some missing, unfortunately. We'll have to try and track them down. Yeah, I think Von Kettering said it's a bit quiet in the wargaming community at the moment on YouTube. I think so. I don't find my algorithms as good as I did. I seem to get popular channels coming up, but not the channels that I particularly want to watch. Not saying that they're not popular as well, but I get a lot of them that are just the sort of showboat channels, with lots of glitz, and that's not my preferred channel, where a lot of chat and arguably not much substance. Some of them do have chat and substance, but I just haven't got the patience for the long intros and the beating around the bush. I prefer it straight into the topic, and I don't mind if it's very amateur. I quite like that. So yeah, I do like it straight to the topic, rather than making it seem like it's you're waiting for your cinema film to watch with all the adverts and stuff. I mean, I know we can't help adverts on YouTube, but some of the actual content providers almost put it like an advert where you're having to wade through all their conversation beforehand, which some people might like them. I'd rather just get straight into the meat. It's very sad to hear Ian passing. I touched base with Curtis, and there was a few of us, I think, who were well, lots of people knew Ian, but yeah, I think at the time I learned the news, it was nice that a few of us got together on one of Curtis's channels and just sort of almost in a reminisce, but yeah, it was nice, and yeah, sad to hear, but I'll say it was all one of those things, you know. But yeah, he is missed. He was some good, passionate content, and he was always a great at the chats and things, and participant in the community. An interesting guy, interesting story to tell, and a great listener, which is you know, important also. Right, so yeah, we're just these are all from Irregular. So say some people like Irregular, some people don't, but I actually quite like them. They're fit for purpose. At 15mm, I don't know what the other scales are like, but 15mm, they're pretty fit for purpose. So they're not going to focus, are they? What can I use to focus, I wonder? Piece of card or something, but no, nothing quite to hand at the moment. But once I start properly basing them up and getting them all flocked things, some of them are based now, but once I get them all flocked, I'll do a proper army parade. So yeah, I was surprised there wasn't more. I mean, I don't know, 15mm in the doldrums now, because I suppose the 28mm plastics are quite cheap when how many you get compared to the 15mm, and I do wonder whether the 15mm, and obviously they've got quite a lot of competition now with 10mm and obviously 6mm, but I do actually like 15mm a lot. I think it looks really, really good. Which I just find they give it a sort of big battle feel, which I don't think I get from 28mm really. Even if on big tables 28mm just still looks a bit. I'm less convinced with it when I look at games. I don't know why. Just the uniforms certainly, and the painting are looks better on 28mm. Of course it does, but and the actual spectacle perhaps, but I just don't. Big battles just don't look big, and the units don't look. Whereas in 15mm, I don't know, it just has that. Whether it's probably because it gives you more of a bird's eye view than you get with the 28mm. I think that's possibly it. And then when you got your bird's eye view, you can see. Probably it's how I imagine, you know, battle would look, I suppose, at the scale, 15mm scale. So it's but it's horses, of course, isn't it? I am tempted with 28mm with some things though, because but it's just the storage, and yeah, storage is the key thing really. And I say, if I'm doing it, and I like big battles, that's what I'm more into. And I do like them on 15mm. I just find it's. But 28mm had certainly medievals and well, I mean, obviously Napoleonics. People love Napoleonics for 28mm, but I actually prefer 15 to 28mm than 28mm Napoleonics in terms of the big battles. But people, I think medievals look very good in 28mm. Renaissance probably will because of the colours, but again it's whether you get that big battle feel. And I say I've played some on really big tables before, and although it does look good, and certainly medievals look very good on it, it's still, you know, when you play Napoleon on those big tables, it still looks like a small battle. When it's a big battle, if you have a same size table, which you would for that big 28mm battle, and it's 15s, it would look a huge battle. Yeah, so that's the sort of difference for me. But it's still lovely to see and play with a good 28mm army, and seeing well painted figures is a joy, and certainly playing with them even more so. It's got a wedding anniversary coming up on Friday, so got to decide where we're going to go, and maybe go to Windsor. It's quite a nice town to go around and have some lunch there and have a walk around the castle. And we probably won't go in the castle, I don't think. We've been there before. It's I think, and I actually think also walking around it from the town is actually the most impressive thing, you know, because of the vastness of it, and it, you know, in scale to the town. It's well, when you get into these castles and things, of course they are really stately homes. Now St George's Chapel's really quite amazing, but a lot of the rest of it is actually much you find in most castles, you know. And you know, having kind of lost a lot, some of the interiors having lost some of their medieval feel, because obviously people live there, and they've all been over the years been adapted and knocked about. So, but we'll see. What other news is there? How are we doing? 20 minutes here, and there's a bit on the other one as well, wasn't there? Done that one? Yeah, done that one already. These are looking quite good now. I'm just painting a bit of wash on them. When you put a null oil wash on scarlet, it gives it a nice more red colour, which is the kind of colour which is still, obviously being scarlet, it still has that sort of popping effect, but it is more dulling it down. Does sort of how it probably gives it more proper sort of red colour, or less bright scarlet colour. And the actual reds, if you paint it in the reds that were, you see it sometimes would be very dark to see it on the at 15mm, and that's one of the, I'll say, drawbacks to 15mm. It's because the figures are so small, once they're on the table, it does, everything looks dark. I don't think there's any real way around that unless you paint them ridiculous colours or brightnesses, which doesn't convince me. So you just have to accept that. It makes lighting important, of course, if you're having a battle. And this room I'm in here now is where I'd have in the past done my Napoleon battles, and it's very good because it's got these sort of halogen LED spotlights, so they look quite good. So it is actually quite well lit for battles and stuff. I've also been playing some computer games of late as well, so that's a bit of a drain on my painting time as well. So sort of old school. There's one called, what's it called? They're old games. Empire of the Sun. What's the other ones I got? Empire of the Sun. Fantasy Dungeon, Fantasy something else as well. But they're old games. They're old style 4x4x games is what they call them. There's another one as well, which I've just not recently downloaded, which I can't remember what it's called. Two of them are sort of sci-fi based, empire building and resource management, that kind of thing. And then the other one is a sort of fantasy come war game, but quite fun. But old style graphics, sort of 1990s graphics, which makes it life interesting. Oh, Annals of Rome as well, another one I've recently downloaded, which is an old DOS game. Very basic, but that is quite a fun game. I haven't properly played it yet, but I did when I was younger, so it's quite a nostalgic game for me to play. So yeah, there's I haven't really got much more news or anything to say really, just looking forward to starting my buildings for both for this and my... Oh, I'm also doing a 2mm American Civil War, but that will be another thing I'll be doing. I've got quite a lot of 2mm what do you call it, 2mm black powder era figures, so I'll be using them for American Civil War, and got enough for quite big battles. Now I don't know how that again will look on YouTube. I think it might actually look quite alright, because as long as you get the terrain colourings and that right, it will be very much like a block game, I suppose, which can be right to watch on YouTube. Again, if you've got the right lighting. And the rules is a little bit... I was using a rule set by Peter Knight. Name escapes me, but it's a kind of quite a researched game, but it does look a bit dull, and I think it's more for a smaller scale engagements than what I want to play. I want to play quite big battles with it. So I've looked at a few other options, Altar of Freedom being one, but again I'm not wholly convinced with that one. So I'm still a little bit out on which rule set to use for that, but at the moment I've just got to get some of these projects finished, because I'm quite some time now this is what I'm going to do, is well, I've not actually done anything, so I do have to get a few things finished. So I'm hoping this will be my first one. I've also got a lot of medieval 15mm as well, which I might do a medieval campaign for Wars of the Roses or something like that, some sort of campaigns type thing, I don't know. Or just fight some of the battles of the Wars of the Roses. I'm quite interested in starting up an English Civil War as well, or British Civil War, or whatever it would have been used in back then. Three Kingdoms, is it? I don't know. And also the Welsh Wars as well. I'm quite interested in doing that, which also can segue into the Barons' Revolts. So yeah, lots on the potential table. And Crusades, these are all the things that I'm thinking about. Again, you can segue from the Barons' Revolt into the Crusades easy enough. There's a lot of people who participated did in fact go on Crusades, so, or Crusader. So we'll see. And I want to go down to Western Zoyland and around where there's some of the key places for the Monmouth Rebellion, so hopefully I can do a few features on the actual places. I've got family who actually live in Lyme Regis, which is obviously where Monmouth landed, so I can do a feature down there, or start there in Axminster and Crewkerne, Chard, all these places. Montacute House, some interesting places. I may also kind of walk, it's only a thought at the moment, walking from Salisbury, I think it's called the Wayfarer's Way, but it's Salisbury down to Charmouth, Lyme Regis Way. I think there's another bit you can walk up to the Oval as well, but so I'm tempted to do that, but it's 19 days of walking, so it'll take a bit of planning if I do it, but I might do a feature on that as well. I would have to camp, camp in places, and probably have to have a few stopovers at B&Bs or pubs with rooms or whatever, and porches of churches. So who knows? But yeah, that's just a thought. Well, I've always liked to do something like that, and unfortunately, this one's broken there. The roads where the route of Monmouth is now obviously a lot of roads, so it would be nice to retrace some of the steps that Monmouth took in his army, but I can probably do it by visiting the places, but actually walking it might be a bit perilous. A lot of them are now actual roads which can get very busy. When I was younger, I cycled from Exeter to Lyme Regis, and took my life in my hands a bit with the road. It's not that far, but it was quite hilly, and it's, you say that the traffic is at certain times of day is quite fast and busy with lorries and all sorts, and the roads aren't really catered for multi-lane use, so you have to cycle whilst all these vehicles are passing at often quite a rate of knots, and without seeing you, if you're going around the corner and stuff, they may not see you till quite late. So yeah, not the best. I remember that quite specifically. But you do these things and live to tell the tale. Right, I'm gonna call it quits in a minute. Still. Right, now let's see if I can get something to put behind. No, it's a shame. Maybe this will work. Let's have a look here. That kind of. No. How annoying. Never mind. I'm not going to dwell on it. But yeah, they are coming on. They're coming on nicely. So this wash does make a big difference, to be honest. They were a little bit too scarlety. So anyway, let's call it there. Bye for now.